I mean, ho, 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 Merry 13 days before Christmas.
Stop
Oh,
encouraging Cav.
Whoa, so
18.
many months. Heart.
Yeah, 18 months. Bloody hell. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, so anyway, it's 13 days before Christmas. And I just happened to visit home, i.e. my actual house in Melbourne, um, looking at to pick up another book. And then I remembered I've got this book about the 13 Santa Clauses of Iceland. And why don't I read it on stream at some point when it's 13 days before Christmas? And just now I did a Google search for how many days before Christmas, and it says 13. So I guess now's as good a time as any to do this lovely reading of the 13 Santa Claus of Iceland. Santa Clauses and their terrifying cat. Um, so, let me thank for the thanks for the 2020 rivalry, Diana Jack. I got a free emote. Nice, how about that? So let me just get set up here. Long-time viewers will know that I've already done a Christmas stream so far. If you want some more Christmas watching later on, if you get cravings for Cav Christmas frivolities, back in July I did a Christmas in July stream, which was reading a bunch of so-called politically correct Christmas stories, obviously by someone who was trying to like make fun of political correctness but didn't actually know what political correctness was. Apparently a best-selling author, but I'll put a link to that here if you want to go back down memory lane, and read some truly eye-rolling prose. Don't know why you'd want to do that to yourself, but I'm going to give you the link. Where are we? There we go. Christmas in July for edgelords. Cav P reads a book called Politically Correct Christmas Stories Poorly. There we go. So I'm going to share that in the link here. It's definitely an interesting stream, wasn't it? It was very painful at times. Anyway, let me get set up here so we can read the tales of Icelandic Christmas together. You and me. Just you and me. There we go. Getting into this, and we want browser. We want full screen. And then I want to go into OBS here and window capture properties. Android webcam server. Okay, turn that on, and there we go. And then all I need to do is press that button. There we go. All right. Sorry, let me get myself organized here because this will be a fun read. So anyway, yeah, when I was in Iceland, my Icelandic friend was very, very keen. I went around Christmas time and she was just like, oh, we got 13 Santa Clauses. Oh, it's amazing. You'll learn all about them when you're in Iceland. And I was really excited. I think they've actually got a museum or something dedicated to the Yule lads. So I bought this book because I figured I had to get something. Otherwise, like, the folks back home wouldn't believe me. So as you can see from the, look at the, sorry, but like, oh God. How do I show you just how scary this cat is? Look at that. Can you see that? These people are not, they don't seem nice. Like, they're not really the image of Santa Claus that comes into your mind when you think of children's joy. You know what I mean? What's he doing? Anyway, so I'm not doing this stream to make fun of Iceland, obviously, but it is something that people in Iceland seem to find very fun. So I want to share this with you. I do look a bit evil. I don't know, do you have, what about like Norway and Sweden? Do you have more than one Santa Claus? Where did this tradition come from? Look at that stuff. Ooh, so all of these Santa Clauses, the idea is that you get one Santa Claus every night, which delivers something, like something in your stocking. And then on the last day of Christmas, you get, you know, the rest of your presents. You have just the one Santa Claus. Iceland is just greedy, probably. And all of these different, they're actually called the Yule lads, as you can see in the front. They're technically not Santa Clauses. I think that's just like an anglicization of them. At least that's how my Icelandic friend introduced them to me. But yes, even these kids look a bit creepy, don't you think? But yeah, I thought we can read through this and learn it all together. It's Icelandic pronunciation. Don't be put off by the unfamiliar Icelandic letters. Okay, th and the. So they're perfectly easy for English speakers to pronounce. Th sounds like the th in thing. The sounds like the in then. And there you have it. So now we're going to read all the Icelandic names perfectly, is my understanding. So let us read, children. Read together in a way that we don't have the light. Oh my god, that light is really garish. There we go. That's better. Santa has the same name as our gnomes, so he's like a Yule gnome, really, but in human size, here in Sweden at least. Oh, I see. Yeah, like these people, their mother is a troll, so I don't know whether they are gnomes or trolls. I think they might be goblins or trolls. I guess we'll find out. Hey there, Liam. Yes, welcome. So, hope you can see the picture okay. A little picture down the bottom. Okay, early Yuletide celebrations. Since the 9th century, when the first pagan settlers arrived in Iceland, there have been celebrations at the time of the winter solstice. The original pagan word for this period was Yule. Yule? Yule, which is the Icelandic word still used today for Christmas. I think it was Yule. Anyway, there are various speculations as to the origin of Yule in English. One is that it is linked to Jolnir, one of the aliases for Odin. Father of the heathen Norse gods. It's Yule? Yeah, I think it's because how would you say like cheers in Sweden? Because I learned it in Iceland as skál. And I think you say more like, you say something that's slightly different. Anyway, it might be related to the different pronunciation of that. Skal. Is that how you pronounce it? Skal? Anyway, skál in Iceland. At least that's what I was told. I could have been trolled, like full of trolls in in Iceland. Trolls and elves. Anyway, so there are various speculations as to the beginning of Yule in English. LOL! One is that it is linked to Jolnir, one of the aliases for Odin, father of the heathen Norse gods. Another is that it's related to the English word jolly. Well, jolly the celebrations certainly were. In fact, the first mention of the word that we can find in Icelandic literature is a reference to a drinking Yule. Icelandic farmers would throw great banquets at this time of year in order to alleviate the monotony of the dark, frozen winters. English-speaking people don't know the sound. Yeah, I'm sorry. If you can give me an equivalent, like an English word that contains that sound, even if it doesn't contain that spelling. Because I think A is like the A and E next to each other, right? Is it Let's workshop this. Fall. Okay. Skål. Skål. Versus skál in Icelandic. Interesting. Anyway, the 11th century saw the introduction of Christianity. I hope you can see this. The introduction of... I just don't like that glare. It's really garish. Here we go. The 11th century saw the introduction of Christianity, and as the new religion slowly took hold, the Yuletide celebrations were gradually absorbed into the Christian tradition. But the jolly times carried on unabated until Reformation laws in the 16th century decreed that all disorderly and scandalous entertainment at Christmas and other times and Shrovetide revels are strongly forbidden on pain of serious punishment. Oops. However, these threats did little to dampen the people's spirits, and the revelry continued. There is a story that at Hruni, in the south of Iceland, a whole church with all its partying congregation was sucked down into the bowels of hell as punishment for their misdeeds. This Puritanism was to last for 3 centuries, until the middle of the 19th century saw a slow relaxation in the authorities' attitudes and a return to exuberant celebrations. Like, honestly, I can't imagine living in Iceland without jubilant celebrations. I feel like that would feel like hell. Okay, so that brings us to the first of the, well, this isn't technically a Santa Claus. This is their mum. This is their good old mum. Okay, Grilla, I believe. Grilla. I should put a disclaimer here that I'm almost definitely pronouncing these words wrong. I'm doing my best, but, yeah. Just take them all with a grain of salt. I'm just sort of going by my memory of the way my friend pronounces things, and Björk. I understand that Björk is not really the best sort of like guide when it comes to these words. Okay, so we've got Grilla. The harshness of the winters and the poor and simple living conditions of the Icelanders over the centuries did not hinder the development of a fine literary imagination. As a result, Icelandic folktales are richly endowed with ogres. Ooh, richly endowed. With ogres, elemental beings, monsters, and their like. The most loathsome and hideous ogress of all is the giant troll Grilla. She first appeared in the 13th century manuscript, has made regular appearances since then, and is now an infamous figure familiar to all Icelandic children. There have been many different descriptions given of her over the years, each one more horrible than the last. She sounds like pretty badass, honestly. As mother to the Yule lads, Grilla plays an important part in Icelandic Christmas tradition. Apart from looking hideous... Oh, the mouse pointer is on screen. Thank you for pointing that. Let me move that to the left there. Okay, sorry. The most... I just want this to be readable for you and the audience. The most loathsome and hideous ogress of all is the giant troll Grilla. She... where was that? Yeah, apart from looking hideous, she has, as it seems, a real craving for stewed child. Not just any old child, though. Oh, that's right. They're all really fussy about which kind of children they eat. It has to be a naughty, lazy, or rude one. Over the years, she became quite handy to parents as a threat and was regularly used as a warning to badly behaved children. Grilla sets off as Christmas approaches, a sack over her shoulder, ravenous for naughty boys and girls. Whether she'll enjoy a feast or go hungry will depend on how good the little one's behavior has been over the years. So this is like, you compare this to like the sort of very sanitized Christmas tradition in many places in the West where it's like, well, Santa will give you a lot of presents if you're good or give you a lump of coal or something if you're bad. And this one, no, you'll be eaten. The way you pronounce her name sounds like BBQ and barbecue in Swedish. Grilla. Okay. One story has her dying of starvation because the children have behaved so well. But she's born again, at least in stories, each and every Christmas, and will no doubt to continue to be for many centuries to come. Look at her there. In some stories, Grilla is depicted as having 3 heads, each as ugly as the next. Very Krampus-like, yeah. The official Icelandic word for icicle is grillukerti, or Grilla's candle. That sounded Italian. Grillukerti. Now I'm just being racist towards 2 languages. I should stop while I'm ahead. Okay, some trolls do have horns, while others go without. It is well documented that Grilla is blessed with them. The Urgrus is recorded in the 13th century as having 15 tails. This later became 15 tails with 100 sacks on each and 20 children in each sack. This gives us some idea of her immense size. Gosh, look at her there. Isn't she cool? Look at that. That's Grilla, the mother of the Yule lads. Okay, let's turn the page. Yeah, it's amazing artwork. I just had to get this book. It felt quite overpriced, and it was obviously for tourists. I mean, given that's in English and all that. But yeah, like the artwork is so nice. I hope it was like drawn by an Icelandic person to give an extra hint of, I don't know, authenticity. Most Yule/Christmas folk stories/traditions are pretty dark and not at all like the sanitized modern versions. Much more preferable, like more exciting. Okay. Ooh, polygamy in my Christmas story. Grilla's spouses. Over the many centuries of Grilla's existence, she has had any number of romantic dalliances. Oops, sorry, I should make it so that you can see the whole thing. Including an affair with Lucifer. But only 3 permanent relationships have been recorded. Her first spouse was known as Bolli. Grilla, it is said, had many children with him. He lived to a ripe old age, and since he was a troll, this means we're talking thousands of years. He was bedridden long before he eventually expired. I'm sorry about this light, that's really annoying. Okay, here we go. About the second, very little is known. All we can be sure of is that his name was Gustur, and when he died, Grilla ate him. Okay. The third is the most famous. The father of the Yule lads, he's still around, turns up every Christmas and goes by the name of Lepaludhi. He is almost amiable compared to Grilla, but shares with his spouse a liking for stewed child. A lazy, slobbish, uncouth layabout, he allows Grilla to do all the scavenging for wayward children while he puts his feet up and keeps the pot bubbling in anticipation of her return. So I guess this is the one that eats the children as well. She's like, oh yes, need to get me another husband. Oh! The fact that Grilla ate Gustur probably indicates that it was a difficult year for her. Too many good children. Bolli was not a well troll. Poor thing, he suffered towards the end. Probably there's no double L. Grilla overshadowed her spouses to such an extent that hardly any descriptions of them exist. All we can be sure of is that they were giant troll-like creatures and not very easy on the eye. If one man makes you happy, how about 3? Go Grilla, do not waste meat. That's where her name comes from. Grilla. Now I'm just being silly. Okay. The Yule lads. Evolution. Oops, let's move that over. The Yule lads, Grilla, the mother of the Yule lads, Grilla, was not one for letting the grass grow under her hooves. What does that mean? I guess that means she got around a bit. And there are over 80 recorded offspring attributed to this lady. Whereas the character of the malicious... Wait, why have I frozen? Okay. Whereas the character of the malicious grumpy Grilla has changed little over the centuries, the nature of the Yule lads has undergone quite a transformation. When first mentioned in the 17th century, they were described as evil ogres like their parents, and were used for threatening or motivating lazy children. Very much so that the authorities in 1746 felt it necessary to issue the following decree. The foolish custom, which has been practiced here and there about the country, of scaring children with Yuletide lads or ghosts, shall be abolished. They were too scary. That's adorable. Too scary. Oh my god. The 19th century saw them reduced to the 13 rascally petty pilferers that are recognized today. I wish I kind of knew what they were like in their original form. Their act has softened up considerably, and they've even stopped eating children altogether. Yay! In 1932, a small book of charming verses by Johannes Urqutlum was published called Yuletide is Coming. The verses told the story of Grilla and her family and were an instant success, remaining popular to this day. With accompanying illustrations, I wonder what the accent on top of the vowels mean, because not all of these have them. Maybe it means not accented, so it's Grilla. Maybe it's Grilla. Anyway, this isn't an Icelandic lesson here today. With the accompanying illustrations by Tryggvi Magnusson, they have gone a long way towards establishing the appearance and character of the Icelandic Yule family as we know them today. Oh, thank goodness they became vegans. With their traditional shabby farm clothes and beards of various shades and sizes, the brothers have largely managed to fight off the foreign influence of chubby, jovial Santa. However, there's a picture underneath. Oh, look at that. I need to make it so that you can see everything. What if I do that? The light. Oh, I hate it. Okay, with their traditional shabby farm clothes and beards of various shades and sizes, the brothers have largely managed to fight off the foreign influence of the chubby, jovial Santa. However, during the course of the last century, and much to the delight of children, the Yule lads took up the custom of leaving small gifts. Obviously, Mr. Claus must take some of the credit for this trend. Instead of stockings on bedposts, Icelandic children leave shoes on their windowsills. One wonders what is with Christmas gifts and footwear. Makes you think. Each of the Yule lads sets off from the family home in the Highlands and travels on foot over the mountains, making their individual appearances one after the other on the 13 nights before Christmas. Like Santa, they managed to cover the whole country, as well as delivering gifts to all the Icelandic children living abroad in a single night. No wonder they're hungry. No edgelord Christmas reading this time? No, not this time. Although I encourage everyone to go back and watch that stream. I'm gonna keep linking it here because it was a lot of fun. If you get bored and want another Christmas story. Okay, so, and without further ado, on to the Yule lads. Little story about this one. So there are 13 Yule lads, and most children in Iceland have their favorite Yule lad, apparently. And when I was in Iceland, I was staying with my friend and her family, and they were telling me all about the Yule lads. They showed me pictures and all that kind of thing, and explained what they were, what the names meant, and all that. And then they asked me, "So, what's your favorite? Who's your favorite Yule lad?" And I was like, I kind of like the sheep warrior. I don't really like the connotations of why the sheep are so worried that he's around, but I like that he's, it's also, there is also the implication that he's friends of the animals or something. So, like, animal empathy is always, like, a big thing for me, so maybe I like that one. And they were like, really? This is a stupid choice. Like, oi! Don't ask me if you're just going to judge me about it. But then they bought me, like, a little, Stekkjarstar toy, like a little model to take home with me back to Australia. It was very sweet of them. Anyway, Stekkjarstar, the sheep warrior. The first to arrive in the city, town, and farmhouse is Stekkjarstar, the sheep warrior. Poor worried sheep. His chief characteristic... Oh, that's right. It's because his legs are stiff, so he needs to ride around on a sheep. It's not that he's, doing stuff with the sheep. His chief characteristic is a gangly walk due to the stiffness in his legs. He's probably one of the older brothers and may suffer from a touch of rheumatism. He gets his name from his old habit of sneaking into the sheep cut, where, feeling rather thirsty after his long trek from the mountains, he would try to suckle from the ewes, but fail because he was too stiff to bend down. You see, that's sympathetic, isn't it? Now, it's doubtful whether sheep would yield any milk in the middle of December, which suggests his IQ could be somewhat less than 3 figures. Oi! It's not very nice. Yeah, it's warrior, as in being concerned. This is your country Santas! Hey, Lord Frosty! Welcome, welcome! This is a learning experience for many of us here. Okay, fortunately, we're just reading about. Please correct me on my pronunciation, or at least laugh at it, because I'm not Icelandic. So, 12th of December, which is today. Today, we will be visited by Stekkjarstaur. Anyway, fortunately, in modern townhouses these days, there's no bending required, and he's quite happy to help himself to a glass of milk from the fridge. This has been so eye-opening. I know, right? Aren't they terrifying? They're lovely. Okay. Stekkjarstaur, like his brothers, leaves a small toy, a piece of fruit, or something a little more sugary in each child's shoe, unless the child has been naughty, in which case all he or she receives, or they receive, is a potato. There you go. Which is probably more useful than a lump of coal. Actually, no, I guess in Iceland you could probably do with either. Sadly, you just joined. It's okay. It's all right. I don't mind if you missed my bad pronunciation earlier on. Okay, so next up, tomorrow night, we will get a visit from Giljagaur, Gully Gawk. Great translation. I know exactly what that means. I was hoping it was more of a sheep pranker, but leave their sheep teats alone. Weren't we all? Yeah, potatoes are decent. Okay, Gully Gawk, or Giljagaur. Second on the list of benevolent hitmen, another thirsty lad, is Giljagaur, the Gully Gawk. Again, don't get how that translates, how that explains anything. Like, just keep the original name if you're not going to make anything sensible. In days gone by, this decidedly elusive character would travel under the cover of deep gullies and dark ravines, furtively skulking along until he reached a farmhouse. Then he would sneak stealthily into the animal quarters and seclude himself until the milkmaid was distracted. Then he'd pounce upon the milk pail, first savoring the creamy froth on top, his favorite treat. For some reason I read favorite teat and got concerned, before quenching his thirst with the fresh, warm milk. These days he has no taste for the skimmed milks and sterilized stuff that he finds in modern kitchens, but it is a case of make do or do without. Look at him there, he's like, froth. All right. Okay, let's get this picture up so you can actually see it. Some of the finer establishments in the old days had the stables under the living quarters. The farm animals' body heat rose through the floor and acted as a primitive form of central heating. That is so cool! Supplying warmth and no doubt a certain pungent whiff. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. All these guys are weirders. Every old farmhouse would have been equipped with wooden containers of various sizes for the purpose of milk processing. Milk and all its byproducts, cheese, skyr, etc., were a vital source of nutrition in the past. Have any of you had skyr before? It's so nice. Okay, so the day after tomorrow, we will be visited by Stuffer. Can one of the Icelandic people here explain to me what the accent means on top of a letter? Is it to do with emphasis? Does it mean that I say Stuffer, or is it Stuffur? I'm guessing it's Stuffer, just based on what I've heard of people pronouncing it. Yeah, skyr is a fermented milk product. But anyway, yes, just let me know, because I'm just curious. I wanted to learn Icelandic at some point, just so I could, look at Old Norse and be able to recognize some words, which is a really stupid reason to learn a language. It's like, ooh, a deep O. Stufur. Stufur. Is that right? Stufur. So it just means you make it longer. Oh, that's why my friend's name is written like that. Okay. Stufur. Like shoot, not shot. Stufur. But anyway, the runt of the litter, Stufur, or Stubby, is the third to arrive, although he's actually the first to set off. His little legs are so short and the snow is so deep that it takes him considerably more time and effort than his brothers to travel over the mountains. He's rather sensitive about his height, or lack of it, as it is a cruel fate to be the shortest member of a family of trolls. Ah, so they are all trolls. There you go. You may not catch a glimpse of him on this particular night, as his size makes him adept at hiding, but the appearance of gifts the following morning is proof that he was there. He's another, sorry, just gonna move this a little bit. He's another of the scroungers and hangs around the kitchen to scrape whatever he can off pots that the occupants, for whatever reason, haven't managed to get round to washing. Note to children, if your shoe is in a high window, it's a good idea to put out a shoebox or stool to stand on. Oh look, there's a picture of the book. This gives some idea of stool for size. The book he's standing by is the one you were holding. I mean, yeah. Oh, he's so sad. Stool for short legs make walking in soft snow a nightmare. Why does he even come out in the winter, poor thing? Anyway. So for anyone who's new here, this is the book that we're reading. To give you an idea of the tone of this joyful Christmas book. Oh my god. Okay. So, 14th of December. Next, we have 15th of December. Þvörusleikir. Þvörusleikir. I'm putting in a tiny hint of Russian pronunciation in there, and it's making me uncomfortable. Anyway, I'm gonna keep saying that until I get it right. Say it with me, everyone. Þvörusleikir. Þvörusleikir. Spoon liquor. While the rich is said to be born with a silver spoon in their mouths, this character definitely got the wooden spoon. His lot in life is to loiter around in dark kitchens waiting for spoons to be set aside so that he can grab them and scurry back to his hiding place to enjoy them in peace. Enjoy them? How does he enjoy them? How does one enjoy a spoon? Don't really want to know, actually. I'm not going to think too much into that. Anyone who has done any baking with children around will realize that the wooden spoons don't stay sticky for long. And Þvörusleikir is a handy character to dump the blame on. But on 15th December, my camera and audio are out of sync again. Hold on a second. Let me fix this. Thank you for letting me know. It's a pet peeve of mine, so I'm always going to want to fix it. I'll be back in a sec. Doing my own hold music. That music that was playing at the beginning of the stream, by the way, is my childhood Christmas album, which is Disco Christmas, which I thought were the actual Christmas carols. It was only much later in life when I realized that my Christmas album was Disco Christmas, and no one had heard it except for my family. And now you've heard it, so that makes me feel happy. All right.
Bye.
Oh, thank you for following, Cactus Hat Rack. Welcome. All right, let's get back to it then. So, anyone who's done any baking with children around will realize that the wooden spoons don't stay sticky for long. And Þvörusleikir is this handy character to dump the blame on. But on 15th December, do him a favour and don't wash up the spoons, as he's awfully grateful for any sticky spoon-connected morsel that will help nourish his emaciated frame. Poor thing. Century. I feel like if I read this sentence, I'm going to be banned from Twitch. Centuries of licking have given Þvörusleikir an athletic and agile tongue. He is a regular old Moby Lick. Okay, spoons were crafted from cattle horn and stored between meals in elaborately carved spoon boxes like the one above. What else have we got? Oh, up here. This is a fairly typical turf house kitchen. Due to the shortage of wood in Iceland, dry cow dung was used as fuel. Yum, 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 yum. This stream has had the most Freudian slips from cow. That wasn't a slip. I was saying it on purpose. 16th December. Potasleikir. So I guess sleikir is liquor, right? Potasleikir. Pot liquor. That's a type of food. No, I'm thinking of pot stickers. God, they just love licking things, don't they? Turfs in my kitchen? It's a good job these lads arrive at daily intervals. Otherwise, there would be a calamitous free-for-all, as they each head straight for the kitchens, suggesting that Icelanders might not be that prompt at doing the washing up. Oi! Judge not, ye. This suits Potasleikir, or pot liquor, as his preference is for licking the leftovers off the sides and bottoms of pans, and especially for nibbling at the crunchy hardened bits that collect around the rim. However, if he does come across a partly full pot, he won't hesitate to gorge himself greedily until he is stuffed. Look at him there. Okay. In certain parts of the country, it is said that the Yule lads arrive not by way of mountains, but by sea. There you go. Where do they come from then? Denmark? Potta means potty in Swedish, so I misunderstood the name there. Oh, potty liquor. Gross. Okay, so next up, 17th December. Askasleikir. They just love licking things in Iceland. I mean, the Yule lads, anyway. The Yule lads enjoy licking things. Oh, it's currently 4:11 in the morning, so you're going to pop out. No worries, you get some sleep. Unless it's daytime, in which case you just get out there and have a great time. Wow, look at his tongue! Oh my goodness. I mean, like, I feel like my preference of the sheep warrior, compared with these guys, I feel like, I'm kind of justified there. Okay, Askasleikir. Bowl liquor. Askasleikir, bowl liquor, is the last of the liquors. Too many liquors, too many liquors. His personal liking is for an askur, or traditional wooden bowl with a hinged lid, as you can, I guess, see over there. That looks like an askur. The lid helped to keep the food warm and presumably protected it from any household pets. But it was no protection against bowl liquor. He would hide under a bed, the bedroom doubling as a dining room in the small turf houses, waiting for the time when the dishes were set aside on the floor. Then, when the owners were distracted, he would sneakily snatch the dishes and lick them clean. Ooh! How he manages these days when the old-style askur sits unused in museums is not recorded. All right, so that's him with an askur there. Isn't the artwork beautiful and terrifying? The old turf farmhouses tended to be tiny and cramped inside. It says a lot about Askasleikir's talent for concealment that he could sneak in and out without being detected. Look at him reaching there. That's really cute. I like that picture. Oh. Okay. Great attention has been paid to detail. Was paid to detail in the construction of an askur. Each one was unique and often personalized with a name or initials along it with the date it was made. There you go. That says askur lids. That's what it says down there. Look at that. Very nice. This is so gross to you. Don't worry, we're done with the liquors. Now we're on to the slammers. Okay, we're up to 18th December. Hurza skillir. I'm doing Russian L's again. Hurza skillir. Door slammer. Hurza skillir, or door slammer, is a frustrated percussionist, loud and boisterous. He likes to creep in under cover of darkness, as quiet as a mouse, and then bang a door as loudly as he can, just for the fun of it. He often rushes from door to door, slamming each in turn, pausing only to enjoy the squeaks and creaks of old unoiled hinges. This, as you can imagine, is not altogether welcome when he arrives in the middle of the night and wakes the whole household. He is one of the only two brothers who are not totally obsessed with their stomachs. Well. Oh, he slammed it so hard his little hat fell off. Look at that. Oh. I hate finding out that it was actually my parents licking all those balls. Oh, skyr! Here we have some of that famous skyr. And I see they've got some brand name skyr over there, slightly covered. I wonder if the skyr company paid for that. Okay, next up. We have 19th December. Skir gamur. I'm guessing that's just means elongated vowel. Skir gamur. Skyr glutton. First, it should be explained that skyr is a dairy product similar to yogurt, but made from separated milk. In the past, it consisted of straightforward curds, but these days it is available in tasty fruit flavors. There's like a Yule flavored one as well, which has, I think, cinnamon in it. Can't remember it, but it was quite nice. In general, Skyr Glutton has had a better time of it than most of his brothers, as there was almost always plenty of skyr to be found in farmhouses in the past, and these days most household fridges will contain a pot or two of strawberry, peach, or some other delicious skyr concoction. At least not all of these Sanders are liquors, yeah, right? Skyr Gamur is known for being a glutton and will stuff himself until he's bursting at the seams. Whoops. Great wooden barrels. Great wooden barrels were made especially for the production of skyr. Look at the little mouse there in the bottom left. All farmsteads would have one or more containing skyr in various stages of readiness. Oh, homemade skyr would be wonderful. Okay. Oh, God, another difficult one. Sorry, I'll just scratch my elbow. Hold on. What is going on with that hat? It's a really good question. It's not even explained. I wonder what the biological purpose of that hat is. Okay, next we have Bjugnakrakir. Sausage stealer. In olden times, bjugu, large sausages, approximately 6 times the size of a hot dog, were hung in strings from the rafters out of the reach of cats, dogs, and children. Although Bjugnakrakir, a krakir, or sausage stealer, is advanced in years, he is still nimble enough to climb stealthily up to the highest rafters. But these days the chances are as slim as himself of finding any food hanging up there. It's so sad that all these people are like emaciated. It's like they only eat once a year. He's more likely to find what he's looking for vacuum packed in the fridge. Bjugu is still available in the shops, but the popular American hot dog is rapidly taking their place. Who knows, in years to come, Bjugnakrakir might even be rechristened hot dog. Look at those giant sausages there. Nom 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 nom. It is easy to imagine Bjugnakrakir getting carried away once he gets a whiff of a hot dog. Pilsa. You know, when I was in, when I went to Reykjavik, I was going to say the first time. I've only been to Reykjavik once, but I was visiting my friend and we went to a hot dog place, which is apparently it was famous. It's a really famous hot dog place. And I believe Bill Clinton ate there. And Bill Clinton was really well loved in Iceland, and I can't remember why. He did something there that they all approved of. And so there were pictures of Bill Clinton all over that, because I think he liked that place or he ate there or something like that. It was a big deal. It was really strange. Ooh, glugga. Ugh. Oh dear. Okay, on the 21st of December we get a creeper. Glugga gagir. Window peeper. The peeper, as tradition has it, He's a very shifty character. You don't say! He loiters around windows, peeping in when nobody is about. He is always on the lookout for little knickknacks that he can pilfer later on when everybody is tucked up in bed, fast asleep. If a child catches him looking in, Gluggagagir has a reputation for pulling funny faces to make himself look scary. This Yule lad, anyone as famous as him would get their foot on the wall in any establishment they visit around here. Yeah. It's probably a good point. Like, Iceland's not a very big place. I mean, population-wise. This Yule lad believes that fair exchange is no robbery, and as he always leaves presents in shoes, he considers a little pilfering perfectly acceptable. You can be sure he often gets the blame for any small objects that go missing at this time of year. Oh gosh. Sorry, I need to... Sorry. Okay. For centuries, window peeping wasn't a problem. But with the advent of multi-story apartment blocks, Gluggagagir has had to adapt to binoculars. Well, as long as he can cope. That would be terrifying if I looked out the window and I saw someone pulling a face. It'd be like that airplane gremlin from that Twilight Zone episode. It would perhaps take more than a grimace to frighten kids these days when they are used to Jurassic Park and the like. Yeah, you're telling me. Okay, we're reaching the end of the Christmas season. We've got 22nd of December. Gattaþefur. Door sniffer. Gattaþefur. From far away... What is it with people sniffing things? Door sniffer. From far away over the mountains. Gattaþefur, or door sniffer, gets his first whiff of the sweet-smelling leaf bread being cooked. Now Gluggagagir works for Silicon Valley and monitors the cameras in our ferns. Even with his eyes closed, he is guided by his highly developed sense of smell towards kitchen doors behind which Christmas delicacies are being prepared. Flour, until fairly recent times, was very much a luxury commodity in Iceland, and baking was kept for special occasions such as Christmas. Once he has sniffed his way to a kitchen, Gattaþefur's genetic makeup means he is a compulsive cake thief, and when the opportunity arises, he never fails to take advantage. In the past, 22nd December was known as Hlakkandi, Looking Forward Day, because it was around this day that children started to anticipate the arrival of Christmas. What's that? That's like a cake or something. Sorry, I can't get a clear image of that. You get the image, general picture there. Oh, look at his little nose there. Oh God! I once saw a big moose right outside the bathroom window early in the morning. I got so scared I covered my eyes when entering that room for years afterwards. Sorry, I'm laughing because that would have scared me as well. Oh my God! Great pains are taken in the making and baking of laufabrauð, a flour and water-based dough, flattened into pancakes and deep fried. Ooh. This is usually done just a few days before Christmas, with all the members of the household helping to make the various intricate designs. Okay. Ooh. Oh! Okay. All right. Now it's getting a bit dark. 23rd of December, we have Kettkrókur, meat hook. The penultimate Yule lad is most definitely a carnivore. Meat is what he likes, any sort, and lots of it. It was the simplest of exertions in days gone by to climb up onto the roof of an old turf house. There, with the aid of a long, stout hook, Kettkrókur would reach down the chimney and snag hold of a leg of smoked mutton, or any other meat that might be hanging from the rafters. Or he might have reached further down. No doubt he had, and still has, lots of implements for different situations, to hook a morsel from a pot cooking on the hearth. Hearth? Never learned how to say that. Never had one in my house. Oh God, smoked lamb is so good. Never showered with the blind open after some door knockers had the poor sense to stare in. Oh, this one's important. He takes up 2 pages. Or maybe he's just a popular one. Okay, it was customary in the olden days to eat smoked lamb on Saint Thorlakur's Day, 23rd December. Oh, Thor! Is it related to Thor? Probably not, because it's a saint. However, these days, possibly to full Ketkrokur, a tradition from the west of Iceland, has become more generally accepted, that of eating skate on this day. The large flat fish is hung for quite some time until gamey, which means it has a most unappetizing odor. This dish is decidedly an acquired taste. Quite what Meat Hook thinks of the new development, nobody knows. Look at him reaching his hand down there. Oh, it's so creepy. Okay. Oh, look at that guy. He doesn't look happy. Stay away from my meat, yo. Saint Thorlakur's Day. Thorlakur's Day. 5 years after his death, Thorlakur, okay, it's named after a person, Thorhalsson, the 12th century bishop of Skalholt, was declared a saint by the Icelandic parliament. However, this went unrecognized by the Vatican for centuries. It wasn't until Pope John Paul II visited the country in 1985 that Thorlakur was belatedly appointed patron saint of Iceland. And here we have a terrifying picture of Meat Hook, as he is called. Oof. For a nation of fishermen, cod liver oil lamps were for centuries the cheapest and most readily available form of lighting. Well, there you go. I wonder what that smelled like. All right. Okay. So next up, 24th of December, we have Kertasníkir, candle beggar. King's candles. Triple tallow candles were made at Christmas to represent the Magi, or three wise men who came to pay homage? No idea. To the infant Jesus, bearing gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The tradition of giving lavish gifts at Christmas is a relatively oh God, look at those children! I just noticed the children! Oh my God! Okay. However, the giving of candles on 24th December stretches back for centuries, a fact of which the last of the Yule lads is well aware. Before the advent of electricity, children used the candles to brighten up the darkness in celebration of Christmas. But the hungry candle beggar would have devoured any he could lay his hands on. He ate candles? In those days, the candles were made of tallow, animal fat, which, while not exactly delicious, was at least edible, and would have helped to keep a wiry Yule lad warm on his long journey back to the mountains. So he comes all this way, and he just eats candles. I don't really see what he gets out of it compared with... Do you think maybe they swap roles every so often? Like, I'm tired of eating candles. Can I just be the meat hook for 1 year, please? These days, Kertasníkir is still an avid collector of candles, but he has to satisfy his nutritional needs by other means. Yeah, that makes sense. Truly children of the corn. Yeah, look at them there. I remember when they were burning frankincense in an Ethiopian restaurant I was in. It smelled great. Yeah, I guess the rest of the food was stolen by the other elves already, but like even Stumpy got there before everyone else. Candles still have a significant role to play at Christmas time in Iceland, especially since the relatively recent introduction of the North European Advent crown. One candle is lit on each of the 4 Sundays preceding Christmas. Oh, I see. Guess it's a North European thing. Okay. Whereas Christmas officially starts for much of the Christian world at midnight on Christmas Eve. In Iceland, actually, no, I think there's a lot of people who like in Europe, I remember, was it a Christmas Eve lunch or Christmas Eve dinner? Either way, it was before Christmas, you know? I don't know. I've never celebrated it in that way, but I seem to remember Christmas Eve itself. Wait, midnight on Christmas Eve. Oh, right. So, like, coming into Christmas Eve. Yeah, that makes sense. In Iceland, it begins with the flourish of church bells at 6 p.m. on 24th December. Wait, no! Yeah, so I was talking about midnight on Christmas Eve going into Christmas. I think in you, lighting a candle each Advent is a big thing here, right? But yeah, I remember, my understanding is that Christmas Eve is a lot more important in most European countries. Anyway, after a hearty meal of most typically smoked lamb or ptarmigan, presents are opened. Oh. Okay. Oh, now for the scariest Yule thing of all. The Yule cat. You'll be sorry! Anyway, as if Grilla and all her mischievous offspring were not enough, the poor Icelandic children have to contend with the Yule cat as well! 3 exclamation marks. A grossly overgrown house cat turned feral. It is cold, mean, and ravenous. Instead of hunting mice like a normal-sized feline, it preys upon children. But not just any children. This one's a very fussy cat. The Yule cat is quite discerning, choosing only those who haven't recently been given something new to wear. So basically the poor. This cat eats the poor. It skulks across the frigid winter landscape, its yellowy green eyes glowing in the dark. Its teeth are sharp and its claws drawn ready to pounce on any poor, unsuspecting children whose uncaring or poor parents have failed to provide them with a fresh item of clothing for Christmas. Catatolism. Nobody knows where it comes from or where it goes, but on Christmas Eve, when the candles were lit, the Yule cat would peer in through the window. If it saw each child of the household clutching a parcel containing something to wear, it would hiss and scowl and continue on its evil way. Keeping warm in the Icelandic winter was, and still is, the number one priority. Children in the not-so-distant past were called upon to help with the preparation and production of new garments. So basically, yay, child labor. Sorry, let's... Sorry. The Icelandic winters can sometimes dump an accumulated snowfall several meters deep, capable of covering homesteads and at times whole villages without trace. In the past, some of the more isolated farms would have been cut off for months on end. Oh dear. So here we'll move down looking at the picture. You better be grateful for your granny's woolen jumper, you little turd. Oh, it's a giant cat. Look how big it is. That's so cool. That's so scary. Oh, look at its butt. Okay. The spinning, weaving, knitting, and sewing were performed to some extent by children. Until fairly recently in Iceland, all clothing came direct from the sheep to your store. The wool had to be washed, combed, and spun before it was painstakingly crafted into a garment. It was a long, arduous process. To make sure the children worked hard and concentrated, while they all huddled around the light of a meager flame, else would put the fear of God into them with horrific tales of the Yule clad. Make these clothes or you're dead. One wonders whether a similar ploy would produce results today with homework. These days, every good Icelandic parent still makes sure that at the very least there is a new pair of socks or gloves for the kids at Christmas time. Just in case, because on long, dark, windy winter nights, a faint, sinister caterwauling can sometimes still be heard. Forget Godzilla vs. Kong, when is Clifford vs. Yule Cat? Oh, and this is the end of the book. There we have the little husband and we have Merry Christmas, children. Sleep well tonight. Oh, it's so horrible. So horrible. Oh. Well, there you go. Let's read the back, shall we? Gifts left in shoes, milk disappearing from the fridge, mysterious figures whisking into the shadows. At Christmas time in Iceland, this can only mean one thing. The Yule lad's back in town! Over the centuries, the Icelanders have developed a highly unusual set of Yuletide traditions, from the food they eat, smoked lamb, rotten skate, and leaf bread, to their colourful folklore featuring the giant troll Grilla, her 13 rascally sons, and that huge, hungry feline, the Yule cat. The Yule Lads gives readers of all ages a delightful insight into the history, customs, and characters of Christmas in Iceland. Well, Yule Lads 10 out of 10. Well, I hope you enjoyed this lovely tale of a celebration of Icelandic's terrifying Christmas folklore. I know I had a lot of fun. I'm probably, given that it's only been like about an hour, I'm gonna finish off with a little video game. I'll probably finish off Hand of Fate is the plan, given that I'm basically on the last level. And that'll probably take a few attempts. But yeah, I'm really happy I got to share my own experience in Iceland of discovering about these Yule Lads. It was definitely something. Iceland is such an interesting country. I highly recommend going there at some point. Absolutely gorgeous landscape. Like, so much of it is volcanic and really, really pretty. And also there's the elves. The Icelandic elves. I wrote I wrote a travel journal article about my experience with elves in Iceland. First, in case you want some more Christmassy fun, there's my Christmas in July for Edgelord stream. But if you're into some light reading, I've got a little story about me finding out about the Icelandic elves and thinking maybe that I was being trolled by people saying that they believe in them. Very interesting look at what it's like to be a completely oblivious traveler. Yeah, I hope you like